you would probably fight these guys. No, I'm just kidding.
I would not fight.
You would not fight. You would.
I would debate.
Soda Pop, big fresh can.
The Soda Pop Podcast. This is a podcast with me, Soda.
My name is Pop.
We are Soda Pop. Pretty much.
We're a new rap group.
Yeah, we're gonna be releasing a couple mixtapes. We'll see how they go.
We're kind of like Salt and Peppa, but not girls. We're
Pretty
guys.
much.
So, yeah.
Essentially, my real name's Brandon, and this is Keaton. We go to school in Philly, and we just wanted to make a podcast. So this is it. Here we are.
Mm-hmm. This is it.
The Soda Pop name comes from me, a Philly local, Philly native, I would say, not in Philly but around Philly. We call soda here, but this guy he's on a new level. He calls it something.
Well, yeah, we call it pop in my parts. You know where I come from, which I mean, whatever, I guess. I don't know. So.
I mean, I like it. We're two pieces, soda and pop, and those pieces can come together and mesh and create one podcast.
Something like that. I mean, it's mainly pop, but it's like 90% pop. So, and then also soda, but
All right, let's get into our story time right now. So,
story time. Yep.
A lot of you have probably seen the video. Keaton and I went to the tailgate of the NFC Championship game, Eagles versus Vikings, and as some of you may know, Keaton's from Minnesota. That's where him saying pop comes from, and I sort of peer pressured him a little bit to wear his Vikings jersey to the tailgate because I knew it would be a little bit sketchy. I don't know. I saw a lot of stuff from like Minnesota news talking like about how like dangerous Philly is and how like horrible it's going to be. So I figured I should take him to the tailgate just to do that.
Yeah, the whole origin of that. There's a bit of a story there. I mean, there was the local news outlets back in Minnesota saying that it's all gangs and whatnot. And it's all bad, and you gotta be careful out there and stuff like that. And when I heard that, I was like, that's kind of BS, because like that, people before I came out to school out here, were kind of telling me those things. They're like, those East Coast people, they're mean out there, so you gotta be careful out there. You can't
I mean, yeah,
you can't be messing around. And so I was like, oh shit, But then it turned out like, not really. I mean, they're not as nice as Minnesotans. No.
I mean, I definitely prove everyone right because I'm just a jerk.
Yep.
So. And
and it wasn't that bad. And so I'm like, okay, the Minnesota news, local news, saying like, be careful at the Eagles game or whatever. That's kind of silly because I haven't really had that bad of experience. But So, and plus, like, I'm literally in Philly, and the Eagles and the Vikings are playing here in the NFC Championship.
You got to go to that.
I feel like it's kind of a disgrace for me to just sit at home, during that and just watch it, I feel like not too many people are in this position. So,
for sure,
I got to throw on the jersey, and I'm going to go head down. And my thoughts were like, it'll be fine. It'll be like I'll get some banter like you Vikings fans like you suck but because like it for the if the Eagles came to U.S. Bank in Minneapolis and they were around a whole bunch of Vikings fans, it would that's pretty much what the extent of it would be. It would be like we're gonna beat you today and stuff like that. But no, I got there. Within probably a couple of minutes, there was just literally crowds of people booing loudly, saying, phrases such as "fuck you," "you suck," "asshole," "you're in the wrong state," and so on. And I had a beer can thrown at me. I was asked to leave a tailgate, which that was just weird. So it was worse than I expected. Yeah, people say you should expect that with Philly, but like, but I don't know.
No, man, dude, it's the city of brotherly love. Like
Yeah,
you got quite a few beer cans thrown at you, but they also there were a couple of people that were like, "Hey, you have balls. Here's a beer," and they like handed you a beer.
Yeah, which they did.
So
that was cool, but like that was not the majority of people. Majority were they were full grown adults, like just like screaming, calling me, like fuck you, you fucker, like you fucking Vikings fan, all that,
I'd like to think
shit,
like that's like some like dad or like a high school principal or something.
I
And they're
like
just
picturing that they have like young children, like a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter at home, and like they're shouting expletives at me. Which I mean, I guess I'm an adult. I'm 20, but like not really. Like I'm basically a child. So
I have to agree with that one, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, when I was filming, I went into it and I was like, okay, I know Keaton's gonna get some shit for this. It's gonna be rough for him, and I thought you dealt with all of that conflict pretty well, considering like your personality. I know that like you'd probably fight these guys. No, I'm just kidding.
I would not fight.
You would not fight. You would.
I would debate.
Intellectual debates.
Yeah.
But I thought you handled it well, and when
I cry, like
no, like you didn't want to leave right away. That's what I mean. Like it was pretty intimidating to be there.
I kind of wanted to leave right away, but and you were like, "No, stay. We're gonna stay a little longer." And
it looks like I've been exposed for using you for content. I guess.
you do.
I honestly felt
Clickbait.
I felt like such a douche because I was like. It was me and then a couple of our roommates and you, and everyone was just like walking around, and even like one of our roommates, Tyler, like was actually booing him. Like
he's like
look
at it's a Vikings fan.
Yeah, we walk up to a crowd of people, and he's like, "Hey, look at this guy, boo!"
Oh boy, and that was one thing. It's like a lot of people saw me and they wanted to boo, but they would wait until one person actually had the balls to boo me and be like, fuck you, and then everyone surrounding them would be like, boo, like asshole, like.
I just like how I was just filming you the whole time. Like I didn't stick up for you very. There was at one point we were surrounded by people all going asshole.
It was a lot of people,
and that was the only time I felt like this could go bad. And at that point, I was like, Keaton, we have to go, and I like hustled out of there. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I was just like sort of like holding the camera, and I felt like kind of a douche for doing that. I was just like, oh, hi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
that was.
Are you calling me a douche?
Yeah. You're another one of those douches. So.
Well, I mean, overall, I thought that it was a good experience because we did have fun. We ran into a lot of goofballs, but also while there were a lot of those goofballs, there were also some pretty cool people. That one guy with the green beard, he was so dope. He was so chill. Yeah,
there's a guy who his hair wasn't green, his beard was green, which. That's a good look.
That's the next level.
That's a look. So yeah, I mean, if we had like a home base where I could just chill, just when I'm not being booed at, that would have been good. But I did not have that. The one tailgate I was at, I was asked to leave from by the person running it. So, do I regret the experience? Probably no. But would I do it again? Probably not. No. I mean, that is my takeaway from the.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I already know this, but you're like mainly a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
But then like you'll root for the Eagles too. Like I'm an Eagles fan. I would have rooted for the Vikings in the Super Bowl. So are you going to be a part of the Super Bowl antics as well?
What I'm saying is the next Vikings Eagles game at the link. No, I'm not going to go with Vikings gear. That's what I'm trying to say here. Because no, I'm not doing that anymore. That's just that. It's not. No, but Yeah, well, yeah, I'm going for the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and like, yeah, I would totally go to games and stuff. You know, like the Eagles are probably my number 2 team. You know, it's just, yeah, I'm not gonna try and go there and wear the opposing team's colors.
I don't know. I thought it was it was so weird because I'm always a part of that. I'm always a part of the like Philly fan base that like boos opposing fan bases. Like my dream is to be at a Flyers game against the Penguins and just like see a bunch of Penguins fans and just boo them. Fun fact, actually, at Flyers games, a lot of times there will be people that just show up wearing Penguins jerseys. Yeah. That's a next level move. Like, you got to be a special kind of stupid to go and seek out like conflict at a Flyers game where they're not even playing against the Penguins. Yeah. That's just, I don't even know.
It's a questionable decision. Yes.
I don't know. I mean, let's go in a little bit more deeply about like what happened after the game though, because that is the biggest reason why I love Philly. Because although we are a bit hostile, I think also something that had to do with the whole like thing against the Vikings fans was like the Vikings, they had the huge play, the Minneapolis Miracle, and then they were like, we're bringing purple rain to Philadelphia.
Well, it was lit. It was so cool.
I know.
Of course, it was so cool. Like, if Eagles fans would have torn the city down if they won a game like that. Like, come on.
But like, they had the Minneapolis Miracle. They were like, we're bringing purple rain. And then they kept doing that stuff on social media. We saw them on the Rocky Steps doing the skull chant. And then we saw them putting Vikings gear on our Rocky statue. And that gets under my skin a little bit, because this might be problematic, but that's a little like jab to the ribs, you know? Like, they're like, oh, we're making it purple in Philly. No, this is a football town. You can't do that. So I feel like that really played a part in like making it a little bit hostile. Like, that was like a jab in the ribs, and we were kind of just like, oh, we want to beat them, and then they were like, it's the Vikings territory now. And, well, I mean, I guess we kind of got the last laugh. I mean, the Eagles logo's at U.S. Bank Stadium now in the end zone.
Yeah, well, once again, that sounds more like a Philly being jerks problem.
Oh.
No one, you couldn't just let us enjoy our fun. You got to realize that we're pretty much the same team. The Eagles, and neither the Eagles or the Vikings have won a Super Bowl. And they're sitting and you're acting like we're some big like jerks. It's like, no. And another thing about the whole opposing team thing, literally what happened after the Minneapolis Miracle, they had to kick the extra point, and everyone had already left the field, and only like 8 or 9 Saints players actually came back for the extra point. One of them was the punter, so they had a punter out there on the extra point. So the Vikings fans really respected him for that, and it turns out we donated like $150,000 to his charity. We donated over $100K to an opposing player. Like, come on. Like, and then I come here and get beer cans thrown at me. Like, and at the Super Bowl they're going to be treated with nothing but hospitality by all the Minnesotans too. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know?
Well, I mean, you're in the city of brotherly love.
No. I mean, maybe not when... Philly's good besides sports. Well, I'll say that. When it comes to sports, it's like, no, we're going to go full douche mode now. We're just going to be, like, we bleed green, you know? And I kind of respect that when they aren't playing the Vikings. When they're not being mean to us, I'm cool with it. Because it's kind of cool how big into the Eagles the city is.
I find it really interesting because... although we have no rivalry with the Vikings per se, that was like really bad. So really like imagine if you were a Patriots fan going to a tailgate before the Super Bowl at the Link. You would get like skinned alive.
Well, if I wore like a Cowboys jersey or something.
Or yeah, something like that.
In the NFC Championship, could you imagine? That would be horrible.
People would die.
I would have been beat, I think. I think people would be like, all right, now you're just trying to be a douche. And I would literally get like my ass handed to me. Yeah, the bad part is that we're not even rivals, and I was just treated so poorly.
You gotta think positive, Keaton.
What? I wasn't physically beaten up.
Yeah, you were just emotionally
I was just
a little
abused.
You were emotionally battered after that.
I was. I don't deserve to be treated like that. I'm a good boy. I'm a good Vikings fan.
Okay. I mean, I wish that you had come out like during the parade thing afterwards.
What do you mean?
Even though it was against the Vikings.
No, I was not in the mood to do that.
Yeah,
I was not in the mood to.
It was ridiculous.
I'm literally supporting the Eagles in the Super Bowl. You don't have to keep pushing. Why didn't you root for the Eagles 10 minutes after they beat the Vikings by 30?
Well, it was crazy. People were climbing poles that were covered in lard, like in grease. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like outside of our house, a huge group of people just gathered in the streets. It was like a wave of people from inside the houses to the outside. They all rushed into the street, and it was crazy. I ultimately decided that I was going to go to Center City with everyone because everyone was like, we're going to walk to City Hall. And it was ridiculous. Every car coming down Broad Street was honking. Everyone was going wild. And I feel like that's like, there's definitely pros and cons about being in a city like this where it's like sports or everything, because although like when you win, everyone is so nice. But then if we lose, like if we lose the Super Bowl, we're going to, like the city's going to be trashed regardless. Like no matter what, if we win, city will be trashed. If we lose, city will be trashed. And I respect it. I still kind of like that.
Yeah, I feel like if they lose, the city won't be trashed. Like it'll be more trashed than normal. But like I feel like if it was like the Eagles were like 18-0 going into the Super Bowl and were like so good, and then they got beat by the Pats or something, like I think then their cars would be flipped in the streets and stuff like that. Then I think.
Yeah,
I think things would be really bad.
I feel like a couple of cars definitely were flipped the other night. I mean, there were couches lit on fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over by the art museum.
By the art museum?
Yeah. It's pretty artistic over there.
One of the nicer looking places in Philly, and it's just like they're burning couches.
Yeah, like in North Philly, it's like, oh, let's pick up our trash.
Well, like
Eagles won. Let's get out of here and trash Center City, the nicer parts.
Yeah. It'll all kind of like the same then. Yeah.
All right. I feel like that's all we have today for this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you're interested in our podcast. We're also going to make them available on iTunes. Super pumped for this thing to get started. We've been kind of talking about it for a while. And yeah, I mean, any final thoughts? Could you summarize Eagles fans in one word?
I mean, I respect the passion, but you don't want to be the team they're playing that week. It's probably the best. A little filter just fell off the light stand that we have. Yeah, the Eagles, they're passionate. One of the more passionate fan bases I've seen. But it's not fun being the other team. That's probably the best way to summarize it. So,
I got 2 words to summarize it. Brotherly love.